combat life, how you deal with people is essential. What most don't understand is a captain position is not only one of leadership, but leading as a boss. Your crew or regime is one of many that completes the family. You must lead with confidence and guide with wisdom. And if the word intimidation ever enters your being, then a boss position is not in your making. Today we're going to be talking about John Castellucci, Big John, a former captain in the Lucchese family, and why he was intimidated by Mikey DeSantis when he was a member of his crew. Mikey DeSantis is currently the acting boss, and Big John no longer has a captain position. The first person to ever mention Mikey DeSantis to me was Johnny Sideburns. Johnny Sideburns was a part of our crew. Mikey DeSantis was with Carmine Avellino's Long Island crew. Sideburns told me of an appointment that he had had with Mikey in Brooklyn. So Sideburns said that Mikey showed up at some park on a fucking bicycle like one of these yuppies. But let me mention that at the time, Mikey was on paper, meaning he was on parole. So it was only natural that he was being very cautious when he was meeting with guys. Getting caught meeting somebody like Sideburns would be a violation for him. So yuppie or not, he was being very smart. So according to Sideburns, Mikey couldn't get along with Carmine Avellino. And as a result, he wrote a letter of resignation to Vic Amuso. As most people know, Vic is the official boss of the Lucchese family who's away in prison doing life. I remember I questioned him about the letter and asked him if it was true. He didn't really give me a definitive answer, but this is what he said. This is not a Fortune 500 company that you could resign from. The Lucchese administration at the time transferred Mikey to our crew, which was the Brooklyn faction, which meant that he had to report to Big John, which was our captain. And Mikey knew the life well enough to know how to deal with Big John. Conversely, Big John did not know how to deal with Mikey. Big John knew his history, he had done work in the family before, and this intimidated him. And he proved this by making two big mistakes. The first one being, one night, Anthony Guzzo, Mikey Grok, and Bobby Colello were in Anthony's wife's restaurant, the Pearl Room in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. I happened not to be there that night, but Mikey DeSantis was there and he was drinking at the bar. And I learned that from Bobby Colello. But Big John, assuming that I was there that night, tried to pull a Machiavelli move on me. He came to me and said, "You know Mikey DeSantis, right?" And I told him no, I never met him. He said, "He's a little bit of a bug and a delusion artist. You know, he complained the other night that in the Pearl Room, you didn't say hello to him." Immediately my antennas went up. For some reason, he was trying to cause a problem. I knew Big John long enough by this point to know when he was up to something. I told him, first of all, I wasn't in the Pearl Room the other night. And even if I was, what was I supposed to do? Walk over and do an introduction, meaning introduce myself as a friend? I said, "John, if you walked past us right now, I couldn't tell you who he was." I watched Big John smile because his treachery didn't work. But the more I thought about it on my way home, I knew Mikey never said that. He didn't know me and the story made no sense. I could never figure out what would John have done if I approached Mikey about this. Would he deny saying it to me? Not long after that, Mikey and I were introduced and neither of us brought any of this up. Nothing was said about the Pearl Room that night. Nothing was ever said about what John told me. I liked Mikey and I liked the way he carried himself and we got along good. One example is after he stepped in as the acting boss, at the time there was a couple of incidents that took place in Long Island and he said to me, "I respect what you're doing. I know what took place. But you need to let the associates, guys that are looking to get straightened out, let them handle these things. You have nothing to prove. Let them prove themselves." And he was right. And that was coming from Mikey in an acting boss position. Ask me if my captain at the time had this conversation with me. Would you like to hear Big John's take on everything that was going on in Long Island? He said to me one day, "I heard you terrorizing Long Island," and was hysterical laughing. John liked that sort of thing because I was a reflection on him since he was my captain and I was part of his crew. Anyway, back to mistake number 2. I had become very friendly with Ralphie Di Matteo. Currently, he's the Colombo Consigliere. Back then, he was a soldier like myself. We both lived in Long Island, so we would see each other a lot. So one day he got in touch with me and said he wanted to meet with me. He had something to tell me that would make me laugh. And I did go meet with him. And when I got there, he was laughing. He says, "Guess who came to me to ask me questions about Mikey?" I already knew the answer, so I told him Big John. So Big John went to Ralphie to ask him advice on how to deal with Mikey. And Ralphie found it hysterical because he said to me, "John's scared to death of this guy." So Ralphie says he laid it on even thicker. He told Big John, "Don't fuck with him, John. He's not the one." And he basically told Big John that he should treat Mikey right and be respectful to him. And then Ralphie made a prediction to me that wound up coming to fruition. He said, "You watch, Mikey will be the boss one day." And he was right. And as for Big John, it was a foolish mistake because Ralphie, being very good friends with Mikey DeSantis, definitely went and told him this story. And if Mikey didn't know before, he now had no doubt that Big John feared him. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you could hit the like button. I appreciate everyone who does. And continue to leave your comments down below. Once again, I want to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. I appreciate it. All right, till the next time. You can subscribe to the Sit Down News blog at sitdownnews.com, and I appreciate everyone who has subscribed. Thank you. Well, just another example in the mob you never knew about. Hope you enjoyed the story. If you would like to subscribe to this channel, you could do so down below. If you would like to subscribe to my other channel, Unlimited Substance Podcast, I'll add a link in the description to this video.